Gas Station just saw If, and I gotta be honest, what a wonderful film that was.
Hi.
Gas Station, welcome back to Super Interview. Today we're talking about If, Imaginary Friends, starring Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski, and Steve Carell. Now, I gotta be honest with y'all. This film is an excellent family movie to take the kids, the siblings, or even a significant other, okay? However, it does have some issues, but also has some good stuff in it. We get to that much more. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe for more views. Let's get into it. So, number one, my biggest con about this movie is a negative I have to give is that in the very beginning of the film, we basically see the entire family, the little girl and the mother. And we see basically a montage of that relationship, the happy family going on, something happens with the mother, and it's not like explained, unfortunately, which is kind of an issue I have to where there are two things that are shown, one with the mother, one with John Krasinski. I'll talk about that in a second, but specifically with the mother, how the mother is happy. She wears a hat on her head with less hair, signifying she may be sick or ill or something. But unfortunately, the film doesn't really talk about it nor address it much. You could tell there's something missing. There maybe was some editing involved to where they want to include her scenes or talk about what happened to the mother, but they decided not to, I guess. So that's that. Number two is John Krasinski. This film is in the hospital a couple times, and we don't know what for. Not trying to spoil really. It's just the fact that in this film, the little girl goes to the hospital, meets a little boy, but also meets her dad. And her dad is well spirited, cracking jokes all the time, but we never officially know why he was in the hospital for to begin with. All we know is a broken heart, but that could be for any type of reason. I wish we could have gotten more depth with the father, add more layers to the film, but unfortunately, we don't do that. Instead, we just focus on the if aspect of this film. And then once we get to ending, it kind of doesn't hit the same because if we don't know what's going on with the dad and whenever the good things happen, it's like, I mean, I'm happy that this is happening, but at the same time, because we don't really know what happened before that, it's not earned, if that makes sense. My third con of this film is the fact that the grandma and this little girl's relationship is kind of dialogue, kind of awkward, kind of forced and strained a little bit. That makes sense. It's like it's as if me and another person meet the first time, we're in a room for about 5 minutes. We're told to shoot a scene together, and it kind of just felt weird. It felt awkward. I didn't really feel that relationship kind of vibe too well, especially not towards the end of the film. Whenever they have other things going on, if that makes sense. But other than that, those are my top three cons of this film. Now let me tell you what I loved about this film. What I loved is Ryan Reynolds and the ifs in this film. The ifs, from the minute we get introduced to them, to the world, to the imagination part of this movie, this film is firing all cylinders, okay? I mean, there was a specific segment I've seen this film that I absolutely loved, where essentially Ryan Reynolds and this little girl go to a location. I won't give away what happens. And basically, everything you want of this film is in that one specific season segment. So where it's like visually beautiful. I was engrossed into this aspect of the film. I was like, I want more of what I'm seeing right now. This little girl is basically required to use her imagination. If you see the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. She's required to use her imagination to do a specific task. And oh my God, dude, the little boy inside of me was like jumping up and down, like, yes, 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 I love this. I want more, I want more. Fortunately, that's the only segment we get. But you know what? I'm happy at least we got it. And also, I love meeting all the ifs, all the characters we got in this film. We got Lewis, Blue, Blossom, and much more. So many different voice actors. I thought they were all fantastic. They were wonderful. I gotta give a shout out to, I think his name was Lewis. Basically, the bear in the film. It was played by, I think, a older gentleman that died a couple of months ago, Lewis Godot Jr. Rest in peace to Lewis Godot Jr. But basically, this guy, his soft voice, his character, the way he carried himself throughout the film, he was on screen, specifically him and the other ifs. I was just hat to screen. I care was one of the rest of the world. I loved it so much. Blue, same thing as him and Blossom. They are the reasons why you come to this film and see them. I'm happy to report you get a lot of time with them, and there are some great emotional scenes involved with them and other characters as well. Okay, now this little girl in the film does an absolute magnificent job as the lead of this film. Okay, because if she doesn't work, the film doesn't work, and I'm happy to tell you this much: she didn't annoy me. didn't bother me at all, except whenever the scenes that don't involve her and Ryan Reynolds do kind of bother me, except for her and John Krasinski. But like her and the grandma, like I told you earlier, like it just felt strained, a little forced, kind of awkward, especially the way that those two had their chemistry going. Both her and Ryan Reynolds specifically, I loved every second of it. It starts off a little weird, a little bit crunchy dialogue in the very beginning, but after a while, once the film starts to find its footing, when it's at its best. Visually, colors on screen, wonderful looking, and honest to God, the soundtrack, by the way, is spectacular as well. There were so many songs that just elevated this movie more and more for me. I want to give this film a 9 out of 10. I really, really do. But because of the two plots of this film that don't make sense, or basically not that they don't make sense, but it's like they were basically cut, unfortunately, to market this movie better, if that makes sense, which I understand, but I still feel like in a way we could have tackled a specific story and element of the film without making it too dark for kids not to want to see. Now, this film for me worked either as a child or adult. I watched this mainly as a child, because there were a couple scenes in here for adults, but not many. But for me, I love this film so much. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is the ending. Okay, now, don't worry, not gonna spoil it for you. Don't click off. Don't. No, I'm good. You're good. Don't worry, I got you. Okay. The ending to me specifically, I wanted to deduct a point for, but the reason I'm not going to is because as I thought this movie over and over in my head, I realized like, you know what? The ending may not make much sense to me specifically, but I understood what was going on and why they did what they did, the way they did it, because basically we have a very, very happy emotional scene happening towards the end, and I won't give it away. I'm not gonna say what it is. And the way that it's executed, I was like, that's kind of seems weird to me how they did, and I didn't really explain it that well in the beginning of the movie, in the middle. But I was like, you know what? It's a kids movie. It's not going to be thoroughly explained because it's not supposed to be a complex movie. That makes sense. Like it's not supposed to be this over the top complex movie like Dune Part Two. That makes sense. It's just supposed to be go in, either stuff does or doesn't work, and that's it. That makes sense. Okay. So overall, if you have a son or daughter, or again a family that wants to go see a movie right now, this is a movie to go see. But again, Fascination, If is a 6 out of 10. I do recommend you watch in theaters, 1000%. And it's going to be probably maybe in my top 5 movies of the year. We'll have to wait and see. But as always, do me a favor, drop your thoughts down below. Did you watch If? And if so, did you like it? Why not? As always, thank you for watching. Peace out, casual, stay friendly. Have a wonderful rest of your day. See you on my Furious review coming up next.